Okay, this is the second video in the grid game tutorial for the koala game, and we're going to work on the koala movement. So let's bring in some new sprites. Let's create a sprite here. Let's import the sprite. Oh, I got to go back to my koala folder. This is in chapter 7, of course. And I'm looking for the wall. You know, you're at school, huh? So here's the wall sprite, and there we go. I'm going to leave that at 0, 0, and that's 40 by 40. So let's rename it to SPR wall. Okay, so we can close that one down. And then let's make that object. Let's put the wall as the sprite, and it's going to be obj wall. Okay, so we got the wall. And we're going to make this wall solid. And don't worry about it being a black square. We're going to use tiles later for the aesthetics and just use this black square for our collision event or for checking if the koala can move or not. Okay, so let's close that down. Alright, let's bring in a sprite koala left. So create sprite, and we're going to call this SPR koala left. Let's bring that bad boy in. Dead down. Koala left. Gotta open it. Yes, and now we've got to edit the image, and again use the magic wand to do a little bit of magic to get rid of these. I'll do the rest off camera so you don't have to be bored here, but you need to do it with all the images. Okay, I've brought in the following sprites you can see over here. I've got my koala left, down, up. I spelled it wrong. Q-A-L-A. Sorry. Up, right, and stand. Okay, and let's see, have I made my koala object? Oh, I haven't made my koala object yet. We should probably do that. So let's create an object. We're going to go obj K-O-A-L-A, and let's see. I wonder what sprite we should give this puppy. Of course, we're going to give it the standing sprite, because when it comes into the room, that's the first one that's going to be shown. We will skip sprites later, or we'll load other sprites later depending on which direction it's going. Now the goal is to not let the koala go through walls, and to not let the player move the koala when it's not aligned with the grid, so it can't run into any walls, because all of the walls are going to be on a 40 by 40 grid. So if you've only moved 20, you won't be lined up with the next corridor, and you should not be allowed to move. So here's the way we're going to do that. We have to do a little bit of programming here. So first of all, let's do the left key down. So we're going to add event. It's going to be key down left. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see if it's aligned with the grid. So what we're going to do is we are going to make some checks, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the check to make sure that it's aligned with the grid. If it's not, we're not going to let the player do something. So we're going to use this over here called if expression, and we have to do a little bit of programming here. Now the expression is going to be place. You see how it pops up? S. So place snapped. Now you need two numbers here, 40, 40. This expression, what it does is this place snapped is what's called a function. It's a built-in programming thing that GameMaker Studio has done for you. And I'm going to hand 40 and 40 to it. It's going to check whether the koala is lined up on a 40 by 40 grid. If it is, it'll return true. If it's not, it'll return false. So we're going to click not. That means if it's not lined up with a grid, we're going to do something. And what we're going to do is we're not going to let the player do this. We're going to say, hey, you want to exit this event. So we're going to drag it in and we're going to put it on the side so it will do that. Okay, we're also going to make sure that we cannot walk through any walls. And we're going to do an if object at place. So let's look that up. If, oh, gotta spell it right. Spelling does count. If object at place. That looked good. We're going to drag it in here. So if this is true, it'll go here, and this will always, and if not, this will run. Now, the object we're going to check for is going to be the wall. Okay? Now, I'm hitting left. So, left of me is going to be -40. The next place over in the grid. And relative to me, y, we're going to leave that to 0. So if there is not a wall there, okay, we are going to set the speed of the koala. Set speed. There it is, right here. We're going to set the speed. And we're going to use 5. We have to use a ratio of 40 or it won't work. It has to go in a ratio of 40 or it will move too far per frame and end up into the wall. Okay? Then we're going to set the sprite, which happens to be right here. Hey! I'm going to set the sprite. So this, if this is true, right here, it'll do this and this because these two are tied together. And what do you say? Since we're moving left, maybe let's use sprite koala left. Okay? We also want to give it a direction to move, and you have to do this separately. Set direction, and the set direction fixed will be fine just to make things easy. I'm going to drag it in there. And I want to go left because I hit the keyboard left. Okay. And now we're going to do an else. Okay? So if this is true, it's going to do this. But what if it's false? We have to tell the computer what to do if it's false. So, oops, can't type today. We're going to else. Okay, so if it's true, it does this. See how this is out here? Else, we're going to come down here. We are going to set the speed. I bet if I go back, the recent one, see the recently used? Now, empty, not empty anymore. Set the speed to 0 and set the sprite to koala. Stand. Okay, that's the basics of a grid game for key down left. So, hey, if we are not lined up with the grid, we're not going to let you do anything so you don't walk any walls. If there's not a wall on your left, we're going to set our speed to the direction that we're traveling. And it's going to be left, because like that. Set the speed of 5 and left. You know, I probably should put those ahead. It just makes a little more sense. We're going to go left. We're going to go to speed of 5. And we are going to set the koala sprite as walking left. Else, we're going to stop and set our sprite to stand. Okay, so there's the left. Let's see if we can figure out how to do the right. So let's go to key down right. I'm going to come back here to this left and hold down shift. Just selected the whole thing. Then I can right click here. I can go copy all of this. Go back, double click on key down right, and then I'm going to paste it. Now I'm going to, is it a hold down control, make it a little smaller, hold down shift, we'll bring it back in. This is the same. So now that I'm going right, I want to change that to 40. Make this a little, oh, wrong one, it's control. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay, since I'm going to the right, I just go 40 because 40 is to my right, x of 40. And I move this to the right, speed's the same. I'm going to move the, grab it. I'm going to go with koala right, and everything else is the same. Okay, so there is right, I hope. We all make mistakes. And then for the other one, key down. Let's go up. I can paste that. Let's hold down shift to move it a little to the side. Now, up is going to be 0 here. Now let's think. Up is, since it comes down in the game, and y becomes more positive when you go down, I think negative 40 for up. We're going to go up same speed. Let's do a koala up for that, and the rest is 0. Left, up, right. There's one more. Key down, down, paste, hold down shift, okay, and this is going to be 0. We are going down, so y is going to be 40 because that's below us. We'll set the speed there to go down. Let's use the koala down. I spelled that wrong. I'll have to fix that. And then koala stand if we're stopping. Okay, now we're going to need to test it. So we're going to need to set up a room. Alright, let's make a little bit of a test room here. I'm going to come down here to my rooms. And I'm going to create a room. Let's drag it up. Oops. Cancel. Don't drag it on top of the other one. Let's just drag it up between them. Okay. And let's rename it all the way. Rename. And I'm going to call this test room. Okay, let's go to the background layer. Let's add our sprite. Let's tile it horizontally and vertically. We don't need all that room. Okay, so now I'm going to put some walls in here. You can drag these in like this, and you can drop. Oh, I always do that. Got to go to my instances layer and drag it in. Oh, look it doesn't fit because this is 40 by 40. So let's change the grid to 40 by 40. Select this and delete it because it's in the wrong spot. Let's drag a little grid in here. Now if you hold down Alt, see that? So you can hold down Alt. Oops, it'll work. It's a little hard to do this sometimes. Let's make ourselves a little corridor here, and let's put like that. Delete, delete. Now that was the Alt button. That's a nice little shortcut. And then now let's grab a koala and let's toss a couple koalas in here and see. Oh boy, let's save it and let's run it and see what mistakes we made. Always a mistake. Always. Oh, now let's start. Let's see. Oh my gosh, they fell out the bottom of the room. Let's try to figure out what we did wrong there. Alright. Okay, what I forgot to do, and there's probably other things wrong too, is I forgot to stop the koala. So we're going to have to do that with a step event. So we're going to add an event, step, and we're going to make it a begin step. So it checks this at the beginning of this step of the game. Come over here. We are going to check if, oops, not recently used, but search if expression, let's see, yes, and it is place snapped 40, 40. Now we're going to leave this to see if it is snapped to place. We're going to leave this as true, and then we're going to set the speed to 0. So I'm going to set the speed to 0, and then we're going to change the sprite to standing, so that, hey, if it is lined up with the grid, then it's, hey, and they're not hitting any keys because the keys will override this, then we're going to set it to 0, and we're going to set it to stand. Let's see what's wrong now. Let's save it. Okay, well, we just marched right through the walls there. Up, down, right, and left. I might have some of my coordinates wrong. Let's check that out. Oh, the old relative box. I checked -40 left of me, and I didn't tick the relative box on these. So, oops. So it didn't check relative, and we've all done that before. There we go. Takes a few times to get these things right when you're kind of new to them. Let's have a look at that. I'm just going to pause it while it loads. Okay, we're getting there. There's a little bit. Let me get the window back in focus here. There's a little bit. You see how it jumps to the left? That's just a sprite thing, but I can't go right. I can't go left. I can go up. Oh, the koalas are stacking on top of each other, and there's something wrong with the down sprite. Let's have a look at that. So, sprite koala down. Oh, see the origin? Got somehow I must have clicked on it and moved the origin there. See how it says custom there? So that's going to be, I want that top left. Okay, that'll fix that. Now the other thing that I didn't do on your object koala, I believe we need to make the parent the wall. Now if we do that, the koalas think that it's a wall, so they won't go on top of each other. So let's see if the 8th or 10th time is a charm. Okay. Oh. Okay, right? Yeah. We're going around. They stack up nicely. Go left. Oh, little buggers go. Okay, there's koala movement. And yep, those were my mistakes. You will make some too. And that's just a learning thing, trying to figure out what mistakes you made. Alright, koalas are moving. Okay. Alright. Congratulations.